Why did I name my account the Worldview Architect? The answer isn't just that I think it looks cool, although that's a part of it. It's because I believe that every individual has the ability to change the way in which they view the world. And I also believe that it's worthwhile to take advantage of this ability and reshape our mindsets routinely throughout our lives. Hence the name Worldview Architect. The truth is, there's a lot of suffering in life. I'm sure this is no secret to either of us. For example, there's sickness and disease. Many of us work out our bodies so that we don't suffer from poor physical health down the road. When you lift weights, you prevent your muscles from weakening. When you do cardio, you reduce your risk of getting heart disease. Any kind of exercise helps you avoid high blood pressure, becoming overweight, or other preventable conditions. And that's one of the primary reasons why people work out. Because we know that by exercising today, we can avoid physical suffering tomorrow. And I work at a gym. I'm genuinely impressed by how dedicated many people are towards improving their physical health. But what I think many people don't see is that this same logic applies to our mindsets. Most people don't realize that you can devote the same effort towards improving your worldview as you do towards improving your body. Back to the body example. Yes, sickness and disease still exist, but we're also fortunate to live in a time when medicine is more advanced than ever, and it continues to get better year after year. Obviously, it's still important to maintain our physical health for all the reasons I mentioned earlier, but I'd argue that in the modern age, there's less physical suffering than ever before, and there's more mental suffering. Some physical suffering has become avoidable thanks to medical advancements. We now have antibiotics that end illnesses in days, the same illnesses that would have caused serious disease or death centuries ago. In the same way, some of our mindsets create unnecessary or avoidable suffering. But unlike physical illness, there's no medication that can eliminate our most harmful and deeply ingrained perspectives. And some of the suffering can feel worse than physical pain. Some of it even creates physical pain. We turn outwards to improve our physical health through exercise. But the exercise we have to do to improve our mindsets is inward. To improve our mindsets, we need to practice self-reflection. Why should we self-reflect? Because we're at a point now where most of our suffering is in our minds rather than in our bodies. There are small ways in which this shows up. For instance, our language, the words we use. We don't need to say, I need this when we're talking about Domino's or a bag of potato chips. And we don't need to say, I hate this when we're talking about a long line at the grocery store. We're dramatizing small problems when we do this. Maybe you'll hear somebody describe their bad habits by saying, I always do this, or I always do that. Why? Why do you keep doing that? Stop doing that. Right? As the saying goes, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So you can think about the habits that you have, you can think about the words that you use, and then you can ask yourself if these behaviors still serve you. And if they don't, you can take small steps to change them. I wanted to give some light examples there, but it gets deeper than that. There's so many stories that we keep telling ourselves that aren't grounded in reality. Stories that end up handicapping us in the real world. I think that we constantly test our worldview against life, and life responds to us by giving us feedback on whether that mindset is serving us or hurting us. And when our worldview is wrong, life usually gives us pain. To me, pain exists to show us that something that we believe isn't aligned with reality. The pain we feel is telling us our worldview is wrong. This is actually a really positive outlook on pain because it gives pain a purpose and a pathway to overcoming it. The proof of this is that most of the time, when people truly change, it's because they've reached a point of significant enough pain. And pain is the only thing strong enough to motivate the change. I know this from personal experience. I would like to believe that I know when to change, but the truth is that the moments when I've changed the most in my life have come from my most difficult and painful experience. We all have things that we want out of life, that we want to achieve, that we want to experience. We want our lives to look a certain way, but we may have a mindset that gets in the way of that. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's resentment. Maybe it's feeling incapable or unworthy. Whatever the story is, these stories are damaging. These stories cause us to self-sabotage. These stories cause us regret. These stories cause us pain. Some of these stories are deep. Some of them are rooted in childhood, the way we were raised, trauma, abuse, neglect, abandonment. In these cases, those stories exist for a reason, but they don't serve us anymore. The point is this: we all have a worldview, and within that worldview, there's mindsets, perspectives, and beliefs that create avoidable and unnecessary pain. Some are minor, like saying, I need this, or I hate this, or I always do this. And some are deep and painful, like trauma or past abuse. And I don't want to suggest that those heavier issues aren't incredibly difficult. They are. But any workout with real intensity is hard, and we do it because it's worth it, because it helps us avoid unnecessary suffering down the road. The case I'm making today is that it's worth it to train our minds through exercising self-reflection. Because if we want to avoid the unnecessary suffering caused by our worldview, we have to be willing to do the work that can change it. Without self-reflection, these stories are free to exist. And it gets worse than that. Our worldview directs how we move in the world. So these stories shape the way we act, too. To quote the psychologist Carl Jung, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. I'll repeat it. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Do not let the stories that no longer serve you control your destiny. Be your own worldview architect. Reflect on the worldview you have today. Ask yourself if it's serving you, and if it's not, then build something new. This type of workout is like any other workout. It's not easy today, but it's worth it because it creates less pain tomorrow. I hope this video helps you out. Thank you for watching.